While we're watching the rest of the credits roll, let's bring Arthur Summereder to the stage. Arthur. Okay, Arthur. It's the second time I watched this film. I really like it, and I keep trying to get at all that's in it, but I would like you to probably first. I mean, to me, it's a poem. It's also like on the ground, the noise of it. We can't smell it, but I could smell it.
Almost, yeah.
You could smell it. You were there. The shots that you got inside the cabin, I'd like to know how the cockpit, how you got those. There's two sides to it that I really felt strongly about. One is sort of, this sort of meditation on Detroit and its history and what it's come to. And the other was just the technical side of this, the exposure you had to drag racing. I saw some footage from 2014. That's your footage?
2004.
But there was a spin out, there was a crash.
Yeah, no, that was like somebody gave that to me.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, it fit in nicely. But tell everybody who's here when you started the project, what drew you to this, and how you gained the trust of these various protagonists, all of whom I enjoyed, especially the macho guy, John, right? Was his name? You obviously spent a lot of time.
Yeah.
What?
John Quick.
John Quick. You spent a lot of time with him. I'd like to know about that. So anyway, go for it.
Well, I came to Detroit out of pure curiosity for the fate of the town when the bankruptcy happened. And people in New York, where I was before, they were like, they found it very odd and weird. Why would you go there? So I took the Amtrak train to hang out there for a few days, and I felt that it's a very welcoming atmosphere at the time. That was like a little bit in this, like the city is like down, and so come help and stick around and build it back up maybe or so. And then I managed to get back in 2015, I think, with an arts grant to do an artist in residency there. And then there was like the opportunity to do a show at the end, and it felt very, with all my curiosity about it, it felt very strange to formulate a comment on this as a foreigner, with having spent so little time there, and which Mike Banks addresses very nicely, also with his criticism towards me. But anyway, I didn't really know what to do, and I was just like wandering around, and I came across this marks that you see where this long shot is with the music, which were referring to some kind of nightly illegal event that were occurring there, and that was like my first draw to it, that the city was so empty usually, and it was really like, what do you do there? And then people told me, they have these races in a few spots over the town, spread out, and so I tried to find these the events that were leaving these relics, and that was my first encounter with it. And then I think like there was this sports bar which had really good burgers, and there was like frequently there was drag racing on TV. And at first I didn't really give it so much attention, but once I got really sucked into it, and it kind of came to my mind that this is like so weird to do such a weird exercise. But the longer I watch it, I thought it's kind of like me. I find this weird maybe. I mean, and like Formula One racing, which goes for hours in a kind of a track. It's just as weird, probably. It's just that I'm used to this, whereas this is probably just part of American kind of upbringing, and it's just as normal, and I guess. And so, I got this. I projected all my you may say stereotypes on American society to it, or I could find could find a lot in there. And so
How did you meet all these people?
Yeah, that
They
was
went
like-
from eating a hamburger in a sports bar
Yeah.
to making this film.
Yeah, that was the beginning.
Yeah, okay.
And how the journey starts. Then I managed to get back for a longer period, and then I felt a little bit like when you saw the second film now, Chasing the Sirens, like I could relate to that a lot. So we were hanging around at night in a car, waiting for somebody to show up, and then. Yeah, and then there was some encounters with racers, and then I only realized much later that actually they had spotted us and they knew, and there was the urban myth that there is a cop from Europe trying to infiltrate the scene. But then we found at an event we found the Carters, and they were kind of like I don't know, like Big Carter, as he's referring to him. He has, I think, like he has an eye for people, and he knew like this guy's all right and he can hang with us. And then Bibi, like I said in the film, really I read an article in a free newspaper, and she was very welcoming. And with John, it was like we met at the shop, like we were really like I could guess why they thought there's policemen, because we were really like trying to follow these people, and we were at the shop where I saw a sticker on a race, so I knew there's like people of this underground racing scene coming to this shop eventually. And then there was a tuner, and he at first said like, no, we don't know. I don't know nobody, and then there was this Columbo moment just before we...
Columbo moment.
Yeah, when we left, like, wait a minute, I have maybe one telephone number I can give you. And this was John. And so we called him, and like he is like, yeah, you can come by now, whatever. Yeah, and also like him, like then he got calls from that's how I got to know this myth. Like he got calls from other people telling him to be aware that this is probably a cop. That he was also, come on guys.
Okay, so you spent the first part of the time dodging the whole sort of mythic, the expectation that you were a cop, undercover.
Yeah, pretty much so.
Okay, how did you shed that? I mean, it was just the longer you stayed, the more trust got built up?
Yeah, and it was really like Johnny was the door opener. Like once, like he told the other guys, get a grip on it. Like, I mean, what do you think, how important you are that they managed to find these people flying in?
Get a grip. Yeah, so welcome to conspiracy theories.
Yes,
okay. Yes.
Exactly.
Now, you told me before that you finished principal photography in either 18 or 19, and edited in 19.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
And then 2020 dashed a lot of hopes about getting into festivals.
Yeah, no, I mean, we were like, I think mid-2020 we were really done with all the grading and mixing and stuff. Like the essay, it took a long time. Like first I had an edit without it, but it felt like, I don't know, I felt a little bit it's like too loose, like this, it had to be knitted closer together with some ideas about why this is important for Detroit and why it makes sense there and what I see in it. Maybe somebody would like to share this thought, and it felt a little bit too loose, so I started to write this, and I have a hard time I had a hard time writing this on my own, and so I teamed up with Alejandro Bachmann, who is like more like a theorist on film, and he helped me a lot to get, like, he made a first draft of like our conversations about the film, and then we worked it around until we had a version together, and then also the edit had to be adapted to it, of course.
Okay, so let me clarify this for my own sake. The narration, which I thought is extraordinary, you wrote that with him, or you wrote that on your own?
No, like we had several like long conversations about the subject, and he saw this longer edit, which was like without it, and also, I mean, there was like, I read a whole script to get funding where all this is elaborately written down, and from that he made a first draft, which was too theoretical for my taste again, and then we kind of worked back and forth until we had something we were both happy with.
Okay, this is fascinating to me because the narration sometimes floats above the film in a way that allows you to get like a higher view of it, looking back down. It doesn't necessarily revolve around what's happening, the action of what's happening. This is all new. I've never actually encountered a film quite like this, where it's like you're observing and explaining, but it's not literal. It's very philosophical. I thought that was quite good, actually.
Thank you. I hope it's not too, I don't know, far out.
Esoteric?
Yeah, well, not esoteric, but maybe, like sometimes I feel it's a bit pretentious maybe, and it's too, but like it's meant to be more as an invitation than to tell how it is, and this was like hard work for us, at least. It felt like to find the trace,
yes.
to not fall on each of those sides.
Yes. Who has questions for Arthur? Yeah, Bill.
I thought it was great. I was wondering if city officials have seen it, like the mayor, city council, and if so, what their reaction to the film is.
Well, actually they haven't. But it's not that like I would hold it back from them, it's just like they don't care, I guess. Like the Detroit police chief who is in the film, he's running for governor, I think. But I don't know if he would like himself pictured like this. But I mean, it's just what he said.
I think it's a promotion for Detroit, myself.
I thought so.
Strength. Kind of thing. You know?
Exactly. Like I really appreciated Mike Banks. Like when, like normally he turns everyone down wanting an interview or something, but because like he's very famous in Europe, in Germany, in Berlin, he's a superstar, but nobody knows him in Detroit, and so he's used to Europeans wanting to feature him in some way. But like they had this. Which I try to explain briefly. They have this philosophy that they shouldn't be the important characters. It should be all about the music. So also he said like, okay, when this is about cars and we don't talk about music, like on these circumstances, he can agree to do this because like show Detroit what it's famous and proud of, what it's famous for and proud of, and. Yeah, I mean the protagonists have seen it and I think they appreciate it and liked it a lot. Like I was worried for like you said in your introduction that this is like this like I had this many like I wanted to make a film that is so many films in one film. Like it should be a film that works for the racers and for people into Detroit and for people into documentary per se, and it was not so easy to bring this all together.
Okay, so on the level of drag racing, I got a lot out of this picture. I had no idea. It's like utterly obsessive, right? And the costs involved. Does anybody in this room, do you have a vocabulary surrounding drag racing? Anybody? I mean, did you come to this picture in the sense, oh yeah, I'm just gonna, I already know about that, but I just want to see what he did. I think it's very successful as a primer on obsessive, the idea of drag racing as a fulfillment of life. I did like that.
Thanks. I heard that a lot from people who say like I was like the least car guy up to this.
You were, but now you feel steeped in audience, you're better off around drag racing.
Yeah, and I mean like it has a very strong visual quality. I don't know, like that's kind of like what would draw me into like it. Maybe it makes sense to make a long film about something that only lasts for 3 seconds.
4 seconds, I thought. Who else has a question for Arthur? Yes, please.
Fantastisch. Es war ein sehr gutes Film.
Danke.
Speak up when you talk.
I was gonna ask, what was your favorite part about making this film?
Is there more than one?
Well, maybe like really what we talked lastly about, this kind of, like I really enjoyed filming and putting these things together, like this mechanical aspect of it, and like how he assembles this motor from different parts. He really like, yeah, I don't know, it has such a visual strong flavor to it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean also like sound wise, the races and like the entry scene where this lady is giving me a hard time at the immigration. Like it was really like that, and it was because they found like I had my video equipment I had there, and I didn't know that actually that I wasn't allowed to make a film without a press visa, which I got after this incident. But yeah, so I lied to them, saying like, no, I'm not doing this, like out of how do you say, out of instinct. Even though I didn't know, I wouldn't be allowed to tell them that I'm making a film. But I only had audio equipment, additional audio equipment, because it's quite complicated to cover the sound, and so this felt like really like a true lie to tell them like why do you have this audio equipment with me, because like I go to these drag races and the noise is just insane and I just wanted to capture it.
True lies, people. True lies. Who else has a question? We'll make this the last one. Yes, go ahead.
I really enjoyed it, and I really liked the different like people that you chose to interview. And in particular, I was wondering if you could talk about the interview with the chief of Detroit and how you were able to like get that and what that was like.
Yeah, it was like really like this kind of drag racing topic. It's fascinating in Detroit how it's really an opener to various occasions and places. And I mean, I had this this lady. She works for bigger production companies normally as a production manager, and I had heard from a friend who was making a bigger project that he was working with her, but she's like rather expensive. But maybe you can find a deal. And so our deal was that she would pretend to be our production manager, but just like making a few phone calls and writing emails, and she just got the tone to get these doors with the officials open. But mostly was about like really like drag racing, and yeah, like he's really enthusiastic about it, truly. And yeah, it was a bit awkward. Like at some point we felt a little bit like maybe we should stop him, because he's like so he seems to have so much sympathy with this illegal street racing happening in his town that he should fight.
As the chief of police.
Yeah.
Bearing his soul.
Yeah.
And thanks for bringing us this film, Arthur.
Thank you for coming.
I really appreciate it, coming all the way from Austria. Let's give Arthur Summereder a hand, please.